Okay, I'm drinking this green tea and I noticed I was just like sitting here reading the whole bottle and I noticed I don't know if they do this on every bottle. I'm assuming there's like a whole section for a haiku. And a haiku is 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. This one is midnight basketball. Right.
Love and basketball.
The clang of a netless rim under crescent moon by Neil Whitman.
The under crescent moon is beautiful, but the 2 lines before that, what if it was just like a midnight kiss or like something?
Why basketball? It did. You know what? It did give me a picture. It like painted a picture.
Like they're making basketball romantic,
right?
And Love and Basketball already did that.
God, Love and Basketball is such a good movie.
I've never even seen it. I'm just going off the title.
Oh,
I've never seen it at all. I know it's one of your comfort movies, right?
Oh my God, it's so
good.
I'm
surprised I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it. Is it like, am I gonna like it?
I mean, it is like older, so it's not like corny rom-com.
Okay.
It's good. It's really good.
Who's in it?
The lead guy is Omar Epps. And I might be saying this wrong, but the lead female is Sanaa Lathan.
I don't recognize either of those names.
And then the friend is Gabrielle Union. Regina Hall.
Gabrielle Union sounds kind of familiar, but I'm still not too sure who that is. Oh, okay, I know exactly who that is. See, I'm so much better with faces. Like when it comes to actors, celebrities, like I don't know how people just like go into knowing names. Like we had a Zoom call on Friday with our Hella tier and we were talking about rom-coms, which we'll actually get into in a sec because that stemmed this whole episode that we're about to talk about. But somebody was like, you guys were talking, you guys were talking about rom-coms and they were just firing off actors' names.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how do you even remember that? Unless it's someone like Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, like the big people, I don't know shit. But like the person you showed me, I totally know who she is.
Yep.
I just don't know names.
Yeah, I get names mixed up too. I mean, clearly, I just thought Shantu was in the movie.
So today's Monday. Last Wednesday, my sister was in town. She was in town for like a week, so we did a lot of really cool stuff. I think we already told you guys how we went and saw Harry Potter, which was so cool. And then that last Wednesday, Monica and I went to the American National History Museum. Am I getting that name right? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. The big history museum in New York.
Night at the Museum?
No, I think that's actually a different museum. I think that's one in DC. Don't quote me on anything. I don't know shit about nothing. This was such a cool museum, though. It was 4 stories, and there was a room for everything, like everything. And I've never been to a museum that in depth, and like I feel like the only museums I can recall going to are like
MoMA and SF.
Yeah, and like the Exploratorium, and like those are really cool, but
they're kind of kiddie.
And they're like a little bit more modern. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's very modern elements to this museum, but the museum has been around since, I forget the year, but I think it was like 140 something years. It was so cool though. If you're ever in New York, I highly suggest going. The dinosaur part of it was definitely my favorite because I think I really appreciated how honest the explanation of everything was. Like when you go to a museum, you kind of expect to like learn it all, but the dinosaur part, before you walk in, there was a big quote that said, so many questions, so little answers. And the little blurbs that they wrote about whatever dinosaur you were looking at or whatever exhibit you were looking at, they and like not in a joking manner, they all kind of ended in a sentence saying, but we'll never know. But this is only what we think based off what we have. But who knows? Like,
it's so weird seeing science. So, because usually science is like so matter of fact.
And exactly. That's what I was looking for.
Right.
But then
it's like true. We don't know much about this. No. It's all like drawing on conclusions.
Yeah. I mean, which I guess is also a big part of science. But what I did appreciate is even though you couldn't get the answer to anything, because obviously we're talking about dinosaurs here, I would kind of have a question like, what was I looking at? You know, the dinosaurs, I'm so bad at dinosaur names. You know who know this? Tanner.
Mm-hmm.
The dinosaurs with the big humps on the back, like the big, like
the ones from
spikes.
like,
is it a triceratops? I don't fucking know.
it sounds right.
But like,
Tritops.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Just the one that's
the
like,
ones from the dinosaur show growing up.
but you can argue, but they're probably all in that, right?
Oh.
Just the one with like the spikes on its back. Anyway, just imagine a dinosaur with spikes on its back. I was looking at one and I was like, in my head, I wonder why they had those spikes. And then right next to it, they had like a section explaining what they think the spikes were for. So any question you had, they kind of thought it through with you. But again, you never got the like actual
the full
answer. The answer to that one, though, was really cool. They found imprints of blood vessels on those spikes. So they assume the spikes were covered in skin and the blood vessels were there to like regulate body temperature the same way
That's so crazy.
our blood vessels do for us in certain parts of our body. So,
and you were saying
cool.
they really like showed how big dinosaurs physically were.
Oh yeah. There was this one exhibit that they actually found like 80 something bones from a certain type of dinosaur. And based off, I saw the bones, they were obviously behind like a rope and everything. You can't touch them. But based off the mass and the size of those bones, they created a whole to scale skeleton of what that dinosaur would look like. This thing was fucking huge.
That's so crazy.
It was like bigger than it was definitely bigger than an 18-wheeler. I mean,
Holy
it was so long.
Yeah.
And they based the size of like one vertebrae to ratio with the size of the thigh bone. That's how they like estimated how many vertebrae there were. It was so interesting, but the bones were like tons and tons. They were so heavy to where they even said, they were like, if we put these up in the skeleton you're looking at, like we'd have to have some crazy thing mounting it up there because they're so heavy, these bones.
I'm so glad they're like preserving all of this.
For sure.
I mean, I guess that's the point of the museum, but like,
right. There was a lot of things that they had little notes that said like, this is not displayed for like preservation upkeep. So it seems like they take them away ever so often, kind of like zhuzh them back up or do whatever they need to do. And then they put them back, which was cool.
Yeah.
There was, oh my God, there was so much. There was also this really cool part of the dinosaur part. I think I enjoyed it because I'm kind of on some like TMJ shit right now. Like I'm very into like the way that jaw works. And they actually had a whole section based off how they think dinosaur jaws worked and how turtle jaws are similar to dinosaur jaws. It just so
all
cool.
Like evolution.
Yeah.
And you were saying birds are the closest.
The modern dinosaur.
That's so crazy.
Oh my God. I actually filmed a lot on my phone from this. I'll make like I need to edit together like a TikTok or a reel or something and you guys can see it. But go. Please go. It's $23. You're there all day. Just make sure you eat before you go because the food court was closed and I was starving. And then we came home, recorded a Patreon episode, and then the three of us went and saw Phantom of the Opera. Told you guys we're going to be theater people now.
We're just theater buffs.
We're just theater buffs. This is our second play. But second play in a week?
Yeah.
That's
I feel like
shit.
I feel like the frequency won't be that much, but I do want to see Dear Evan Hansen.
Yes, and I think it's gone next week. I think is the last week.
Yeah.
We got it. Let's just go. Let's just like buy tickets and go and get better seats.
Yeah, so we saw Phantom of the Opera and we were up on like the second, what are those called? Like mezzanines,
I guess.
Like a little bit higher up. And if you don't know, a big part of the show is the chandelier that crashes. And it's like, it's up under or above the main part of the auditorium.
Like and the pit, I guess you could call it?
Yeah, like the bottom, the closest part to the stage. And where we were sitting when it was up above, we couldn't see it. And I feel like we missed out on like that huge part of the experience because, spoiler.
I feel, okay, I actually... When I was doing research for today's episode, I saw a quote about an old movie and it said anything over I forgot the amount of years. You don't need a spoiler alert. So
Okay,
if it's
yeah.
old enough,
You've probably seen it.
Yeah.
Well, I only say that because I didn't know anything about it going into this.
fair.
I had no idea. But spoiler, the chandelier does like crash on the stage.
Yeah.
And we like didn't get to like experience that part
Like
of
that
the show.
scary part that's like quite
coming
interactive.
down. Right.
I guess that's not a spoiler alert because the opening scene, you see it already crashed. So you know it crashed.
Yeah. Did you know
gonna
it
win.
was like gonna crash like that?
No.
I only knew that because Monica told me.
Oh, before?
Yeah.
What a bitch.
I didn't think so. She had mentioned it when we were at the Harry Potter show.
Oh, okay.
But obviously it does kind of like make sense in the storyline.
Right.
But I was saying I was definitely more in like awe of the production side of things when it came to this show, but storyline wise, I think I was more like
Entertained
and enthralled in the Harry Potter show.
Yeah, I get that. We were kind of talking about it after. Quick answer, yes, I agree. But then like I also know they're so different, and Phantom of the Opera is so much older and it's a musical. We're talking a musical versus a show. Like it is a different
Maybe
thing.
that's why. So we noticed that the like playbill that they give you before you go into the show, the Harry Potter one said show bill, and Phantom of the Opera said playbill. So maybe there is like a technical different. I mean, there's gotta be. Yeah.
Maybe it's like because Harry Potter
There were no
was already like a movie that it's like an interpreted show rather than like Phantom of the Opera is a play and has always been a play.
Huh.
We'll see when we go like
Let's ask
see
someone.
Wicked or something, or you guys listening if you know, comment down below if you're on YouTube. We're
like
so
the
curious.
But yeah, it was good. It was beautiful. I was like, my breath was taken away with all the singing was insane.
It's crazy, and I feel like having a live orchestra too just
I
created
didn't notice that until like halfway through.
Yeah, it just like it makes it so much. It makes it feel so much more alive because it's not like the actors are just like syncing up with some audio. Like the oh my god, why am I forgetting? Oh my god, I feel like an idiot. The conductor. Sorry guys, straight up, we're both on our period right now, so I'm like,
it's a rough one.
I'm like loopy, like I am just tired and lethargic. The conductor is like watching the show while conducting the orchestra, so like they can kind of adapt to what's happening. If there's I would love to learn what goes behind a show too. Like,
oh my god, that's like all I'm interested in going to these.
Yeah, because they can't stop and restart. Like this is some real shit. Like it has to be perfect.
It has to be perfect. And I was thinking about, because there were a couple times where like people's phones were going off.
Oh, I hated that.
Oh my god, just turn off your phone.
Silence your phone.
It's that.
We even said it in the beginning.
Yes, it's that easy. And like their phone went off twice, same person.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the first time it went off during a like pretty important part when the Phantom was first. I think like one of his first. What do they call? Like, is there a term for when they stop and sing? Solo?
Sure.
I don't know. You guys,
we don't know.
Please, any and all information.
Yes.
Please, like, we want to know the technical parts of it.
Right.
But anyway, that happened. And I was thinking, like, the willpower he has to have to not, like, stop.
Look up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's true. Because naturally you react to that.
Yep.
Like,
anyone, like, you hear a noise and
you turn.
Yeah.
You're right. They probably have to be.
They're so in it.
Yeah. Like, you have to have like blinders on.
Yep.
Pretty much. That's crazy. Did you notice Christine, when they had just got the new play from the Phantom, like his written play on New Year's, she had her music. She dropped it.
Yeah.
She dropped her music.
Yeah. I did notice that. Someone picked it up for her, right?
Yeah, the ballerina picked it up for her. But like, it's moments like that where you just gotta adapt.
Yep.
Obviously, that's an easy one because in that scene she was already kind of supposed to be stressed out. So I feel like it definitely worked that she dropped something.
Right.
But like, I was thinking the whole time, like, what if something else went? I guess the show must go on. You keep
Yep.
going. You don't even act like it happened, and you just adapt.
I would love to like look up. There's probably a compilation on YouTube of like them having to adapt to like external factors like that.
There's probably like one for big ones like Wicked too. Like I want to see all the fuck ups. Or there's probably a Reddit forum because I guess you can't film like technically, you know.
Right.
Do people pirate Broadway plays? That's fucked up if they do. Also, wouldn't want to watch a Broadway play not in person.
No way.
Doesn't make sense.
I would fall asleep in 5 minutes.
I have to be in it.
Yep.
In it. Anyway.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was fun.
I think like regardless of my opinion, I'm just honored to have seen such an iconic fucking show.
Right.
Like I was just happy to be there.
One thing that I will say, and then we can move on. I was more so expecting to like have to get dressed up for these shows,
especially Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, you go and people, I guess it's a lot of tourists, but still like you go and people are in like jeans and hoodies.
Yeah. Like I want it to be like
I want it to be
theater.
I want it to be like an event.
We were dressed up. Even for Harry Potter we got cute.
Yeah.
Like but I want
it to be like a requirement.
No, 100%. Like black tie event. Did you notice at the end though when we were leaving there was actually a few people in gowns?
Yeah.
I think they had like box seats or something.
Okay, we should do that.
But still like everybody needs to dress up.
Yeah.
You can't come in if you're not dressed up.
I'm officially 27 years old.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. My birthday was on Thursday. And this is the first year we kind of talked about this. This is the first year. I feel like everyone always says like, do you feel 27? Do you feel older? This is the first year where my answer was yes.
Yeah.
Like 27 is such a pivotal. I feel like 21, 25. And then like once you hit your late 20s, those are like big life pivot years.
Like you feel like an adult.
Yep. I feel like an adult.
27 for me was weird because I was like, I'm closer to 30.
Yep.
I'm the closest to 30 that I ever have been in my 20s. I know that sounds silly, but I'm talking about like 25, you could still argue your mid 20s.
Yes.
22, I'm nowhere near 30. Like it's more like the 30.
Yep. 27, you're in your
ratio.
late 20s.
Yeah, completely. Like you cannot argue that you're not in your late 20s right now.
Yeah. And I feel like it.
Yeah. I felt like it too, but then like I forget.
Yeah, and I was thinking about, I was kind of like not scared this past week, but like a lot of emotions. I was feeling a lot of emotions this past week, and I was really anxious for my birthday, but I think once I like really like sat with it, I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel 27. It's cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like on the bright side, like finally we feel like how we're
our age
supposed to feel,
right?
Because it's always been like I don't know, you're always kind of confused, which feels even weirder because you're like, this is my age, how do I not feel my age,
right?
But like now it's an accurate read of who we are,
right? And it feels older to say 27 than it does to say 26.
Completely. I always think about how whatever the age I am right now sounded when I was younger. Like I remember when my cheer coaches, when I was like 10, when they were saying that they were like 16, 17, I was like, whoa.
Yep.
These are women. Yep. Women, like gonna have kids soon, probably married already. But then I'm like, now I think of a 16-year-old. I'm like, why are you wearing makeup? Go be awkward. Like, what are you doing?
Literally.
Oh God, it's so crazy to me. Monica also said, we were talking about like a memory we had, and she's like, you realize I was the age you are now when that happened. And
you zoomed out.
I zoomed out and was like, what? Because
it felt like not that long ago.
Right. And it kind of wasn't. She is only like 3.5 years older. But like when you think of your older sibling, like they are just your older sibling no matter the age.
Yep.
So thinking that like I'm in the shoes she was in not that long ago made me like feel more like not like related, literally blood, because we are related, but like I relate to
where she was at that age.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's weird.
You know, it's even weirder. In 6 months, I'm going to be 28.
Yeah, 28's a big one.
That's crazy. Or like even think of like Leanna.
Yeah.
Like September, October. Leanna turns 28 next month.
Okay.
28.
That's crazy.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, so we're just getting older. While we're on the topic, we unfortunately lost the Queen of England.
Oh my God. That
on
was
my birthday.
Crazy.
On my birthday.
I didn't know I'd be so affected by something, to be honest. Like, I know nothing about the Queen. Never even like thought much about her. But I think just like the shock of when a big death happens, celebrity, politician, whoever it may be, when like the world is thinking
Literally
about death at the same time.
Yes, stops in there. It's a weird energy.
Everything feels kind of still. Like, and you almost feel guilty for not like taking the time to acknowledge the death when like you don't really even like know them.
And there's a lot of controversy on like her death in general.
Sure.
But we literally sat here in shock watching BBC for like 4 hours.
Yes, on Alex's birthday. It's like a nice ass day out, and we're just sitting here like glued to the TV watching like little summaries of her life, which is actually crazy. She was really fucking old. When they started listing all the stuff that she had witnessed as the Queen, I was like, wow, she really lived it up.
Yeah, a lot of shit.
She really like did the damn thing. Like she saw
96. That's a century.
She saw the world just change so much. Different laws, different countries coming, like wars, like I can't even wrap my head around it.
It's crazy.
I mean, we're so young. Like, think of our generation. We've seen
a lot of pivotal
so
moments.
Much. Yep. Like 9/11, which whoa, that's tomorrow.
It is.
Whoa. So it was yesterday by the time you're listening to this. That's a huge one. Obviously, COVID's crazy. It's just weird to think about we're only 27 and that's what we've seen. Like, imagine.
Yeah, we're only, like, round up, we're only 30 years into it, and she got to basically 100.
Oh my God, Betty White outlived her.
Yeah.
Well, not on timeline, but like age wise.
Yeah, she was 99, right?
Nine. Yeah, she was like a few days from being 100, I think. She passed away December 31st, and her birthday is January 17th. So close. That on a shallow note, that's like I would be so unsatisfied. Like just
make
fucking
it to 100.
Get there.
Yeah.
Like hook me up. Just let me through the finish line. Like, okay, that's how it's gotta be. If I'm
seriously,
I don't know. Ask me when we come down to it. But I don't know. If I'm 99, I'm about to be 100, and like, dope me up on some shit, and let me just walk through March 28th. What year would that be? I'm 27 right now. It's 2022.
2095.
Oh yeah, duh. I just add 100 years to my birthday. I was trying to do the math from today's date. 2095.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'll live to be 100?
My great grandparents lived to be very old.
That's a good sign. It's in your blood.
Yeah.
And with like medical advancements now,
right?
Like I feel like it's a lot easier to live.
But if I'm not like, I'm not gonna say like tip top shape. If I'm not like brain like functioning,
my brain, I want to be aware.
Yeah.
If I'm like off in La La Land, I don't know if I
literally cut the cord.
Yeah, just push me down the stairs.
Really, I don't think we have to be that violent. I feel like pillow maybe. Okay, let's.
No, just give me like hella like gluten.
What if I go before you?
Oh, come on, right after. Then I'm pushing myself down the stairs. Don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, okay.
No, literally.
Big Circle of Life weekend though.
We were even talking about Bride Wars, the movie, the other day, and we had to stop talking about it. So, like, what if that happens to us? Big Circle Weekend. What were you about to say?
Big like Circle of Life weekend.
Oh yeah.
Just a lot of death and birth. And Trisha Paytas, there was this big. I feel sorry for her because she's like really trying hard to go through this pregnancy like out of any drama.
Right.
And she was trending the day that the Queen died because everyone was somehow came to the conclusion that she was giving birth.
Well, she tweeted the day before, by the way. She tweeted
Oh.
1 centimeter dilated, and everybody thought, oh my God, she's in labor. But you could be 1 centimeter. Centimeter. Oh my God. 1 centimeter dilated like a month before you go into labor. It doesn't mean it's happening in that moment. You start dilating a little bit earlier than that. You need to be 9 to 10 centimeters to even have birth, and that's a lot. You're not there yet at 1 centimeter.
That's wide.
That's very wide. That's very wide. Okay, let's get into this because we definitely have more hefty of an episode than I even think we're prepared for. So let's get into what we're wearing and song of the day. What are you wearing? We're both cozy right now.
Yeah. I'm wearing, this is my Vallejo Elks Lodge shirt, and it has like cool classic cars on it, and these like satiny wide leg pants from ASOS, I think.
Your socks are really cool.
Yeah, these are my shiny, they're like blacks and silver speckle.
Are they
socks.
like itchy?
No, the inside soft.
Okay, nice.
Or like normal.
Right. I have a pair that are like
Ew, it's this material on both
inside. Yeah,
no
I don't
shot.
even wear them. I actually think I gave them to Kyle. Like I do not like them.
No way.
I'm wearing fuzzy white socks. Your mom actually got these for me last Christmas. Just like OG fuzzy socks. Just
comfy.
Run of the mill. Oh my God, there's dog hair all over them. And then I'm wearing these fuzzy navy blue wide leg pants. They're like furry almost. From Savage X Fenty. And then I'm wearing this little gray waffle knit tank top from White Fox Boutique. Some of my favorite loungewear, not sponsored. I just genuinely love.
I love a good
everything.
waffle knit.
Yeah, everything White Fox it just fits so well. Song of the day, mine's gonna be "Honey" by Kaya Stewart. Come on, guys, you know who Kaya is at this point. If not, if you're new here, hello. We have an episode with Kaya. She's one of our greatest friends. Last season, we did an episode with her and Leanna, and we talked about our whole story time of Vegas when we went and saw.
A year ago.
Oh, yeah, a year ago, like right now.
This
Damn
episode
near.
a year ago.
That's crazy.
That's really crazy.
We went to Vegas and saw Harry Styles. Very cool. But yeah, she is an artist, and she just dropped a song that Honey is one of my favorite songs she's ever written. And I'm just so glad that the world can finally hear it. Her voice is out of this fucking world. She's about to drop way more music and music videos, and she's just absolutely perfect. Her voice is stunning. Please go listen to it. It's Honey by Kaya Stewart.
Okay, my song of the day is this duo called Black Wave with like a period at the bottom of it. They dropped an album last night, and I discovered them I think like a couple of years ago, and they only had one let me go to it, sorry. They only had one album out before, and literally the first album that I found was a no skipper, and I was like, I really hope these guys aren't going to be a like one
hit.
album hit. But they dropped this album, and this whole album is so fucking good. The album No Skipper. It's called No Sleep in LA. And then if I were to pick one song, it'd probably be the last song on the album, I Miss. It's really good. They're just really fucking dope. So go listen to them.
I feel like it's every new artist's like you got to write a song about LA. Like I feel like every new artist has one where they're kind of, and it's always like love-hate relationship.
Yeah, like what LA does to you.
Yeah, like the people here, and like I left my soul back home to grind in LA. Like it's always some like deep shit. But like, I mean, I get it. I'm not even an artist, and I feel like LA did that to me too. Like they're just putting it into art.
Yeah, so the album is called No Sleep in LA, and there's a song called Die in LA.
It's just so moody. I just realized I just said they put it into art, and
no,
it's everywhere now.
Everywhere, you guys. The topic of this episode, we like at least when you had first brought up the topic, I was thinking like, okay, we can like scratch the surface. There's probably not like a shit ton of stuff we could talk about, but we were sitting here this morning researching, and I was like, it was scratching a part of my brain that hasn't been touched in so long, and it was one of those moments where I felt like I had so much information in my head, and I didn't know how to organize it, and I didn't know like, wait, I can go here, I can go here, I can here. And it like all started to come full circle.
Yeah.
It's just a really cool topic.
Do you remember in like elementary school when you learned how to brainstorm and you put your thing in the middle, you put your word in the middle?
Yes.
And then you drew little lines like out, like that's what We did today, this morning, when we were researching for this.
Yep.
But before we get into that, let's take a quick break for our sponsor. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. We've talked about them a million times. And to be completely honest, the two people you're looking at right now have been kind of going through it. Who isn't? But we both have started therapy again. I'm actually starting this week. You've already started. You're like a few sessions in. We're back into it. And we want you guys to join us. We talk about it all the time. And it just is such a priceless thing. And BetterHelp is such an amazing resource wherever you're at.
What's cool is you can message your therapist at any time and they'll get back to you in a timely manner. And you can also schedule weekly phone or video sessions.
That's nice because as much as we would love to be your therapist, A, we are not licensed, and B,
Nope.
we only post on Mondays or Fridays if you're on our Patreon. But it's great because BetterHelp is there for you literally whenever you need. BetterHelp is also way more affordable than offline therapy, and they also offer financial aid.
So visit betterhelp.com/Oddvice. That's better, HELP, and join the over 2 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
Again, that's a special offer for Oddvice listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Oddvice.
Thanks, BetterHelp.
Okay, so little backstory of how I came to even thinking about this episode topic. Like we were kind of saying, last Friday every Friday we have a Zoom call with our Hella Tier on our Patreon. But this Zoom call specifically, straight up, we were hungover.
Yeah.
Just gonna say it. We were hungover. And do you guys ever have we were hungover from her birthday, by the way. Like, just felt like we had to say that because we've been talking about like our relationship with alcohol.
Right.
It was a celebration. It was her birthday. Like,
it was a necessary hangover.
Right. Do you guys ever have those hangovers where you're like, I have two types. Either I'm like dead sick, don't talk to me, I need to lay in bed all day and like melt my brain on TikTok. Or I have hangovers where I'm like kind of happy and like silly.
Like you want to work your brain.
Yeah. Like I want to do like a puzzle, or like something you and I do hungover a lot is like escape rooms. Like I had that type of hangover. We both kind of did. We were like giggly and like creative. And in this Zoom call, we were talking about movies because obviously we wanted to turn on a movie and melt on the couch, and we were talking about rom-coms, and a debate, whatever you want to call it, that Alex and I have had our whole entire friendship is, Alex, Kristen, why don't you like rom-coms? Kristen, because Alex, I don't relate to them. And we were just talking about this, and like so many people in the Zoom call were like, what the fuck? Like, I love rom-coms. What do you mean? And I finally feel like I came to a reason as to why I don't like to watch rom-coms. And it's simply because, you know, like I respect any cinematic idea, but if I feel like I can't relate to it fully, it's really hard for me to get in it and really like submerge myself in the story, which at the end of the day, that's all we want when we watch a show or a movie. You want to get in it and feel it. You want to escape from whatever you're doing and watch the movie. And rom-coms are a really like gray area for me because they're, you know, damn near 100% of the time, they're always like modern day in a normal city doing like normal day-to-day things, dinners, dates, parties, Christmas, like whatever it is. But then there's this element of the love story and sometimes even the plot where I'm like, that's
so
not how
realistic.
how it works. Right. It's not realistic. It's corny as fuck. Like, that's just not how it works. And that gray area to me is why I can't connect with the art of rom-coms. So during that conversation, I like looked at Alex and she was like, well, dude, like rom-coms can be how love is. You can just have that be your standard, you know, like love can be like that. And I was like, is that kind of like a life imitates art thing? Because like, sure, there are love stories out there where people do have that like mushy, cute shit. And like, maybe I'm just not that person.
But like on that same note, it's funny because almost immediately after we had this whole like debate about rom-coms specifically, we were talking about like something romantic that Tanner has done for you. And I was literally like, that is quite literally the plot of a rom-com.
Yeah.
So like it kind of all depends on how you perceive it and like what like bits and pieces you want to find like realistic.
Yeah.
Because the way that you experience some of these things with Tanner, it's like quite literally a romantic comedy.
Right. But I guess I just need, I need the rom-com that's like 100% my story or not. Like,
right.
you know, that's where the disconnect is like, it's not all believable.
Right. And it's always like, if you want to perceive that your life is mimicking the art, or if the art is trying to mimic what's going on in your life. And like, that's how we came up, or you had come up with it, but that's how we like started to process this topic. It's kind of like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's cool to think that art can imitate life and life can imitate art at the same time. Like you can find the parallel in both.
Right. Like, did you find that in your research, a lot of people were trying to take one side?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't think that's what this debate is about. It's not about like the chicken or egg thing. I don't think it's about like which one is like more accurate. It's just the cycle of it more so.
Exactly. And like, it's almost like when if we want to get visual with it, when you see like one of those illusions where you like squint at it and look at it a certain way, you can see it one way. And then like you tilt your head the other way, you could see it another way. It's like that. You're looking at art and you're looking at this concept and you can see it, how it's being reflected on both sides.
Yep. All about perspective.
Yep.
All about perspective. So let's get into it. Let's start with like the background of the theory.
Okay. So I just kind of like jotted down some notes about how this debate came about in the first place. Let me give you a quick definition. So mimesis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Mimesis. It's when a creation of works of art primarily include imitation, receptivity, representation, mimicry, the act of expression, and / or the act of resembling. Some philosophers way back in the day, Aristotle argued that it's a natural human impulse to make art that imitates the people, places, and events around them. And then Oscar Wilde, who's a poet, he was kind of on the side of anti-mimesis. So his idea was that our perception of the world is influenced by the arts around us, and art changes our perception of life. So what is found in life and nature is not what is really there, but it's that which artists have taught people to find there through art. So like what we notice, say we're in like a prairie, what we notice about it is influenced by art we've seen of a prairie. So like, say you're looking at a painting of a prairie, you're thinking about the color and how the colors make you feel, the texture, the balance of light and shadows. And when you're standing in an actual prairie, that's how you're perceiving it as well. So you're looking at it through the lens of the art. So his argument is that life imitates art in that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I want that to like sit with you guys as we're going through some examples of like how life imitates art or how art imitates life. Because like I said before, you can really see it from both perspectives with those in mind.
Right. Because like before the art even, we'll stick with painting. Before you even create the image, it's in your head. Mm-hmm. So is that life in that reality what's in your head?
Yeah.
Rather than what's already a thing.
Right. Like which part are you thinking of first? Is that what you're saying?
So kind of like the chicken or the egg. Like if the thought's in your head before it comes out on paper or cinema, whatever type of art you're talking about, even fucking dance, like it's in your head before. So is what's in your head actually reality? And then we just put reality into the world.
Yep. And like on paper.
It's almost like manifesting. Like that's all things in your head.
Well, we're going to get into that.
Life.
I wrote a lot of shit about like manifesting and shaping your own life. At the end of all of this, the conclusion that I came to is art or life really just is art, and art is life. So it's like, it's all one and the same. It's just, how are you perceiving it?
Yep. I think that's the answer.
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be the fucking answer.
End of the podcast.
Yep. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay. I was listening to this podcast. It's called Asian, Not Asian. And it's the episode that I listened to, these two guys were talking about how they're comedians, and one of them was, first of all, go check it out. They're actually really funny. I like found myself laughing, and I don't do that a lot with podcasts.
Yeah.
But
Besides ours,
yeah, we laugh all the time.
It's crazy.
One of the guys was he had opened up about his depression, and he was asked to come to be a guest on another podcast and to go like deeper into it. And he was talking about how by the time he was a guest on that episode, he had already kind of like worked through a lot of his depression. So it was weird for him to go back to that place.
Yeah.
And how specifically, like, did I say they're comedians?
Yeah.
The two guys are comedians, and how specifically in their field, and I'm sure you can relate to this as a creator, the persona and like the amount that we put out there to be relatable to people, it really does like shape our actual life. He had put it in terms like he had to go back to his depression to be able to talk about it on the podcast. And it made him go back there, not only in that episode, but he like brought back those feelings of depression. And the way that we kind of shape our brand and our life on social media has this weird effect where like we want to be relatable, so we want to share these pieces with you, but our hearts are like so very much on our sleeves that it's shaping our life to be that. So basically, the more you create this character for social media, the more you become it.
Right. Kind of like a fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like this weird backwards speaking it into existence. It's like a form of manifestation. Like you're saying this guy's example from this podcast that I'm talking about, he had to go back to his depression and he actually started feeling those feelings again. So he like spoke the depression back into existence when he'd already worked through it before having to go on this episode.
So life imitated his art, or art imitated his life?
I don't think there's an answer to that one. I think his life in that moment was imitating the art of the podcast, the creation, his brand as a creator and as a comedian. His life started to turn into that portion.
Gotcha. So kind of like if you're creating content around like, we'll go with depression, with like my depression nighttime routine, like something like that. Now you're
just like feeding it. Your life is now mirroring your art, because the energy that you're putting into this creation and what you have like categorized as your job.
Yeah.
Now it's you're just like feeding it. So it's becoming your real life.
Okay. This made me remember I'll play it for you guys. I have an interview that I listened to. It's Grimes. She's on a podcast. I forget with who. She's talking about how she gets shit for kind of being forward thinking and like not worrying about issues right now. Like she thinks a lot about the future, and people are like, you're so fucking privileged, you're not even thinking about what's happening right now. And she's like, I'll play it for you, but she's just like, no, we need to start thinking and telling stories about utopian societies and like happier
That's
things.
how we get there.
That's how we get there. Let me play it for you.
Yep.
I get a lot of shit for it because everyone's like, oh, you're so privileged. Stop talking about like pie in the sky, stupid concepts, and focus on like the now. But it's like, I think if we don't ideate about futures that could be good, we won't be able to get them. If everything is Blade Runner, then we're going to end up with Blade Runner. It's like, as we said earlier, life imitates art. Like life really does imitate art. And so we really need more protopian or utopian art. I think this is incredibly essential for the future of humanity. And I think the current discourse where that's seen as a thinking about protopia or utopia is seen as a dismissal of the problems that we currently have, I think that is an incorrect mindset.
You have to imagine it in order to be able to build it. A cynical view of the world is seen as a insightful view. You know, cynicism is often confused for insight, which is sad to see. And optimism is confused for naivete.
Yes.
Like you don't.
Yes.
You're blinded by maybe your privilege or whatever. You're blinded by something, but you're certainly blinded. That's sad. That's sad to see, because it seems like the optimists are the ones that create our future. They're the ones that build. in order to build a crazy thing, you have to be optimistic. You have to be either stupid or excited or passionate or mad enough to actually believe that it can be built. And those are the people that built it.
That's one of my favorite interviews. I've actually had this liked for so long, and then it came up when I was like researching shit. I was like, oh shit, like
That's the one.
this is so relevant to what we're talking about. I am such, like, the part where he says optimist people are looked at as like naive. Honestly, I've like thought that before about optimism. I'm like, oh, like it's so fucking unrealistic. Like what do you mean? Like you're not thinking real. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe that person's not thinking about the like harsh reality of whatever topic you're on, but they're thinking about a better outcome. And if we all think like that, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yep.
It will imitate it, if you will.
I saw this TikTok of this girl who broke it down really simply. She was like, if you want to see change in your life, you don't ask your current you what your current you wants.
Right.
For example, your alarm goes off in the morning and you ask your current you how you want to move forward from this point. Your current you is going to want to snooze the alarm. And that's how you end up in this. You keep going in this cycle of your current you. You have to ask yourself, you can't rely on motivation. You have to rely on your future self. What would your future self want in this moment? Your future self would be like, bitch, turn off the alarm, get up and go to the gym.
Right.
So that's how you break the cycle, is you think forward and you think ahead, and that's how you're able to create your new reality.
Right. Because you just get stuck in what you want in that moment rather than the preparation you need to be doing to get to your, like, I don't want to say final goal, because goals are ever changing.
Right.
But yeah,
But like big picture, you have to think forward. You have to think in your future self's brain.
I didn't think when we were researching about life imitating art, I didn't think I would get so into like this part of it.
Me neither.
I didn't think our research would turn into like, I mean, manifesting at this point and like the way of thinking.
And it's crazy because as I was sitting there doing it, there was one point where I was like, wait, am I like completely off topic now?
Me too.
But then when we started to share notes and we ended up in the same spot, it's like it has to go there.
Yes.
Kind of a common way of how we look at life imitating art is when we're watching a show or a movie and we see how much characters influence who we are and how much they actually have an effect on what role we play in our own lives. I mean, you see all the time. I'm guilty. I've taken all the BuzzFeed quizzes of which Friends character I am. Literally, I've taken all of them and I always end up on the same one. But I took a which Office character I am because I don't know that one.
Yeah.
But it's funny because each time I go through one of those quizzes that categorizes me as a certain character in media, you go through and it's really like surface level things.
What
and it's
bedspread would you pick?
Right.
What fork do you like?
But do you ever notice like one of the questions for the Office one was pick a house?
Yes.
Do you ever pick like you always pick the house that you see yourself in the future?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You don't pick the house that you're in now.
No, you pick like, you're right. You always pick like
where you want to be. You pick the person that you want to be.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have like these predisposed ideas. Like I know I go through these quizzes and I'm like, well, I know what conclusion they're going to draw from this answer. So I want to pick this one.
Oh, you do that? I feel like that's cheating. Yeah.
Well,
I go like honest. I'm like, I don't even want to like try and get a certain person.
But I always find it's not me trying to get a certain person. It's me building that certain life. So it is like thinking that future. So like the house one, I picked the like really big like Tudor style home, which I always said is my dream home. Yeah. It's always the one that I want to see myself in.
Yeah.
So it's this really like surface level way, like real time manifesting how we want to build our life.
Yep.
And it's
BuzzFeed quiz.
No, literally, but it's our life being shaped like a really like short form way by media.
Yep. Like finding the person you relate to and like
exactly.
You watch them on whatever show you're watching and like you try to relate to them and like you're inspired by them.
Right. And we want to be like there's that age-old question, like, which Sex and the City girl are you?
Right.
Like I said, which Friends character are you?
Yeah.
And we're boxing ourselves in these characteristics because we want to play these certain roles in our own life.
Yep. It's like main character mentality.
Right.
Yeah. Do you feel like this, like, that kind of goes into play with like cosplay? Like, people, I know that some people just do it like for fun, but like imitating a certain character and like really
People go
submerging yourself into it.
Yeah, and they're like
They're imitating the art. Like
they're
trying to live it
their
out.
personalities are so shaped around this art.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like their life is the art.
Yes.
Anyway, I did the quiz.
Who's
I'm
your
gonna read.
character?
Yeah, I'm gonna read my results. I'm Jim Halpert. The like description underneath why they gave me Jim Halpert. You enjoy joking around and pushing people's buttons. Facts.
I did.
But that doesn't mean that you're not serious about your goals. Though you tend to want to escape your problems.
So why is this so on point? Mine's not.
So on point. You always end up pushing through and are happier for it in the end.
That is so
It's
on point for you.
So on point. And it was cool seeing me in like short form, like really fast paced, choosing the life that I want, right? Through these like really basic surface level questions. But in the end, it is a reflection of my current life.
Yep. A reflection of your current life, and then also a reflection of this fictional character. So it makes you think in the writing room, how do writers create these characters and shows that we can relate to so much?
Right.
It's because they're probably basing it off somebody in their fucking life.
Yep.
Their old roommate, their old coworker that's just like that might have a
Exactly.
similar upbringing to you for whatever reason. Like,
Yep.
it's just that cycle.
It's a cycle.
We're creating a show based off somebody we already know, and then other people are relating to that fictional character and then creating their own lives based off that art when originally that art was based off someone's life.
Mm-hmm. We're all just like bits and pieces of these different forms of media, but our bits and pieces are then influencing other bits of creativity.
Mm-hmm. I don't feel so good. Okay, mine, I got Angela. I did not think I'd get Angela.
Shot.
And reading it, I was like, okay, maybe I picked something weird. You're a perfectionist. I'm definitely not.
No.
You're a perfectionist and have a hard time putting up with the flaws of others. Not at all. Some people might call you strict or severe, but you'll never back down from your beliefs. What?
The back down from your beliefs I see.
Sure.
Just
but
like the Aries in you. But
right.
yeah.
The other ones I was like, did I like click the wrong one or something? Whatever. That's the answer I got. But right after that, I saw something about, and I feel like this is like a life imitates art thing. A few years ago, someone put BJ Novak's picture on a public domain site. So now his face is on so many like generic products around the world, like cologne from Sweden. His
Shut
face is like
up.
on the box and like different face paints and like China and like just like that basic.
Yes.
I think they found one in America. His face is on like a poncho ad from like a
we
gift
should
shop.
put our photos on.
I would love to and just see where they pop up. But what's funny is I don't know if you remember, there's an episode in The Office where Ryan, BJ Novak, threatens to put Phyllis and Oscar's picture and sell pesto. But yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Like, very
Yeah, I mean,
ironic.
it's like what show is that? Oh my God. South Park?
Simpsons?
No, is it Simpsons?
The one that like
The one
predicts everything?
Everything.
The Simpsons. Yeah, actually, I wrote that down too. That one though, I'm also like, for some reason, I feel like The Simpsons
Are from the future?
Yeah, like
100%.
that doesn't fall into this debate. They're simply just like magic. There's
Yeah.
something going on there.
There are just like episodes on episodes on episodes of like not just like concepts being like end up happening in the future, but like quite literally frame by frame the same scenes. Like the one where like Trump's going down the escalator.
Yeah.
Like they've got
and like the outfits that they're
Yes.
wearing in the scene. And then like when they wear it in real life, it's like the same shade purple. And like it's like way too spot on to where I don't think I can even talk about it.
No, yeah, that's
I
a
just-
whole other episode. The Simpsons is a whole
It
other
blows
episode.
my mind. It never fails to blow my mind.
They're just from the future.
yeah.
Okay, so upon my research, I ran into this one example, which I'm sure most of us have probably seen on TikTok, but it's an art installation at the Guggenheim called Can't Help Myself, and it's by Sun Wan and Peng Yu. Basically what it is a robotic arm that has
I've
like, you've seen it. Okay, your reaction is like, I mean, okay, just wait. It's a robotic arm that it's like it moves around in different motions and it sweeps up this like blood red dyed like thick goopy liquid. And the goal of it, or we have like assumed that the goal of the installation is to like clean up everything, but basically it's just moving around this liquid and it's never actually like achieving what it was set out to do. So basically it's just like this big representation of mental burnout, and it's quite literally an art installation that we have given this emotion to, and it's replicating like this defeat that we experience in life.
Yeah.
And-
Wow. Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
It's just a fucking big metaphor.
It's a big metaphor, but it's also, so like the intention, let me read this. The intention behind the piece was to draw attention to the increasing use of technology to monitor our environment. And basically the arm is in this cage and you see it at the museum. It's this huge, like big, I guess it's not like a cage in the sense of like a caged animal, but it's this big like glass room. And people are just like standing outside looking at this arm do this business, and we have given it this emotion and we have like so much empathy for this piece of art, and it's so like greatly affecting our emotions as humans. But it's just art, and it's just AI, and it's just like this robot.
But then you walk away from it and you're like, wow, maybe I need to take a break. Like, is that what I'm doing day to day? Like, you walk away and you're inspired or touched in whatever way, and you go change your life off that.
Literally. It's the piece of art that's holding up like the metaphorical mirror to your life. Like you said, you're seeing this reflection of you. And you're like, wait, I've felt like we have so much empathy for it because we've experienced it before, right? Like you see this arm working so hard, but it's not achieving anything. And like we've all experienced that in some form in our lives, us having this goal and putting so much work into it and not achieving it. And that's why we relate to it so much. And it's a reflection of us. So we're like, wait, we've experienced this mental burnout.
Yeah.
Where did we go wrong? How do we not experience this again? I don't want to feel as sad as that thing in that cage.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of us, and we're a reflection of that piece of art.
It's kind of like in movies when there's like they bring home a lesson, like especially at kid movies. Like there's always like a big lesson at the
aha
end.
moment.
It's kind of like that, right? Like you walk away from that movie and like, I'm gonna call my grandma, or like I'm not gonna be mean to my mom again. Like you walk away fully inspired.
When I tell you,
story.
after I watched Marley and Me,
I'm not watching it.
the amount of times that I like laid down and hugged Boomer for hours because I was like, I'm never gonna lose you. You mean so much to me.
Yep.
Like it's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's the aha moment that media and art gives you to reflect your own life.
But like on a happier note, something like a rom-com or a happy movie, like the story makes you feel happy. It's like you're like inspired after on like a positive note, which is good. Like, you know, I feel like any artist would love to create a piece that inspires people when they walk away. But I think sometimes the human brain can get addicted to that and it becomes escapism. Like think about how people have like comfort movies. You have your comfort art piece that you want to watch all the time that makes you feel good, but like, because you can't find it in your real life.
Right. That's
And
what's scary.
It
Like,
gets kind of like,
that's why I loving basketball so much, because
why?
but seriously, like why I love that movie so much is because she, like, at the end she gets her love, like, but she also has this career. Like, it is what we want to see in our own life.
Yeah.
But like, do we want to call it a failure if we don't see it in our own life.
I guess that depends person to person.
Right. Like I'm okay not achieving that.
Love and basketball.
Right.
Right.
Like I'm fine. But it's nice to have that as an escape.
Yeah. So that kind of sense of escapism, relief in your comfort movie, Love and Basketball.
I have other comfort movies, by the way,
it's
but
so specific. Alex. It's so specific. I like I was saying, like I want that form of escapism too. It feels good on the brain, but I can't get it in like La La Land type of things. But I have always gotten a sense of relief. I don't want to say relief, but like I like comfort. I don't know. In horror movies.
Okay.
And I never knew why. And I mean, a lot of people do, even like murderinos, like in like murder podcasts, like that type of stuff feeds such a specific part of your brain. But horror movies specifically, I looked it up today while we were researching, and it's a very common thing with people with anxiety. So people with anxiety, generally, like on a chemical level, you are living your day in fight or flight. You're living in that constant state of like something bad's going to happen at any moment. I mean, if you have it, you know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. And we like watching scary movies because it's a fictional one. Let's not go into the documentary part of how that feeds the brain, because I'm sure that's way different.
Right.
But like fictional ones, like what's that one we like? What's the one we both like? And they're coming out with one again.
Conjuring?
Yes, The Conjuring.
It's a true story.
Oh fuck! So it doesn't even play into my example. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We like it because
Prom night. Go with prom night.
Okay, perfect. We watched Prom Night the other night. You're so submerged in this high anxiety story that boom. Step one, you've already forgot about your own anxieties. Now you're escaped into another one, and you like it because it's still familiar to the brain. You're still in like an anxious story, but it's not your story, so you don't have to worry about your day to day. And once you're like escaped inside of this story, your brain starts going through what exactly the artist wants you to go through, the director, whoever, the writers, high anxiety moments, suspense, big thing happens, and then boom, at the end, the murderer dies, everybody's safe, or the murderer is captured and taken away in handcuffs, and you have that aha moment where your favorite main character is okay and everybody's going to be okay.
It's giving your anxiety the relief it wants in your day to day, but
Exactly.
It's using this art form
to push it on
to
you.
push it.
Yeah, so it's actually, so you have fight or flight, and then after that it's called rest and digest. That's like what your brain goes through chemically. And that rest and digest is what you need to weigh out the fight or flight, because both are normal. But as we all know, things in your brain are chemical imbalances once you boil it down. And that's the chemical imbalance that you're not getting in your real life. So the movie's like forcing it on you, and you keep watching it because you have that like that relief. It's literally just your brain chasing dopamine at that point.
That's so cool.
That's what escapism is.
It's like using it to have that relief in your own life.
Yeah. It makes, after researching this, I don't know about you, I now look at everything. I'm like, what do they want me to feel when I watch this? Like, I feel like you and I need to go be like New York snobs at an art museum and like look at something and be like, what do you think they wanted us to feel when we saw this? And like, let's go.
I don't know if this is off topic at all, but a big thing that I learned in my bachelor program was how minimalism like came about. Was the like fathers of minimalism wanted to take away that thought behind art, so they yeah, so like you see these big, I mean, SF MoMA has a beautiful installations of minimalist pieces, and it's just like this big canvas of a blue square. And like so many people dive into, is this art? What is it trying to make me think? Like how do I want to feel looking at this art? And the fathers of minimalism quite literally painted these pieces to eliminate that feeling.
Yep.
And kind of force you like super unwillingly to look at it quite literally as a blue canvas and nothing else. They don't want you to draw these emotions. If it's it's a green canvas, they don't want you to be like,
It means go.
Yes.
I need to persevere.
Well, it's like green means calm and like I want to like be at one with nature.
right.
No, minimalism is, which it's so backwards because it's still art, but it's taking away that meaning of art.
And what it's reflecting, like back to like metaphors and mimicking life, right where my head went is that's just forcing mindfulness. That's forcing being in the present moment.
Yep.
That's forcing not trying to relate it to anything other than you standing there in front of a blue fucking canvas.
Yep.
It's
And
not that deep.
But it's not that deep, but it's like that weird thing where they're forcing you to be in this like physical moment in the now. But then we're also on that same note saying, no, hold on, you don't want to stay in the now because you constantly like want to be growing and evolving as a human.
Yeah.
It's just like that debate of how deep do I want to go?
Yeah.
It's a brain fuck. It's a brain
this
fuck.
whole episode is truly humans just want to make something out of nothing.
Right.
But like,
But it doesn't have to be that. It's simple.
yeah.
It's not that deep.
Life is a blue canvas.
Would yours be blue?
No.
No.
I think blue's my least favorite color, actually. I don't really care for blue. Mine would probably be purple. I like purple.
Purple.
I'm just going off favorite colors. I don't know. See, now I'm thinking too deep about it.
Right.
Like, should I go for like my aura color? Or like
Probably.
just straight up my favorite color? Like what I like to look at. So when you look at it, I want you to think of me. Purple.
Purple?
Yeah.
I think mine would be green. But then that's me putting, okay.
So there's this theory, this idea from Irving Goffman, where he says like society is art and art is society, and people act in two different behaviors: front stage behavior
Whoa.
and backstage behavior. Front stage, and we even touched this on like last episode, like the way you want
People to perceive you.
That's your front stage behavior, and then your backstage behavior is
Like the
know,
actual doings.
right, who you really are. You're overthinking. And I just thought, this is kind of a sidebar, but even the fact that a theory of how humans act had theatrical terms,
Yeah.
like that made me like,
God.
that's why I picked it up, because I was like, I don't know if this is a sidebar, but the fact that he even is going to relate it to fucking
No,
stage
fully.
life,
That is
like-
life imitating art.
yes. Another term for that is group mode, solo mode. And
Okay.
humans have both. And I saw another person talking about like there's times where you can see people jump in and out of those, and I'm sure you and I,
Whoa.
and it's usually obviously people you're close with that see you in both. You and I know each other in group mode and solo mode. Even when we're not talking, we like know
like,
each other so well.
Super subconsciously.
Right. We know that like the other one is in solo mode and the way, like the type of person they are in that. But then when you and I go out for drinks with people, we see each other like, ding,
We switch
like,
gears.
hey, oh my God, what's that? Like now we're in group mode, like backstage behavior, front stage behavior.
Whoa.
I'll never see it any other way.
No. Does this kind of want to make you take like an improv class?
Absolutely.
It's,
I would love
it's
to.
really like itching this like subconscious part of my brain that wants to see like a true form of me. Does that make sense?
Yes, completely. But I don't know if I went into improv. I don't know. God, I'm thinking too much right now. If I went into improv, it wouldn't be me. It would be me mimicking the scenario that like the teacher spit out at us.
Yeah, but you could argue that you're using your subconscious part of you that's really always been there to
Put yourself in that situation and
Yep.
relate to it and react the way you think you would.
yeah.
I think that's something I like when I watch movies is, oh, if I was in that position,
Yep.
what would I do?
Yep.
Like, do you think improv would itch that same
Oh, 100%.
like side of our brain for us?
Absolutely.
Should we do it?
Yeah,
I'm
let's do it.
nervous. I feel like I want to get up there and be like,
Let's do
I
it.
need to go to like improv step 1.
No,
like,
literally.
we
need a improv for dummies book.
Exactly. Maybe let's start there. We'll do like an
I'm
audiobook.
down. Oh, okay. I feel like we've given you guys a lot to digest right now. So we're going to do like a quick rapid fire of some kind of more like surface level examples of how life has clearly imitated art or how art has imitated life. You wrote down some good ones.
Yeah, I wrote down a lot because like I got to a point in my research where I was like, hold on, okay, this is too much to think about. I need examples. I need to see where this has happened. And that's when I started like really understanding it.
Yep.
I have some like kind of like intense ones and then some like lighthearted ones. I want to start with, I was like waiting for you to bring this up, but the way that Ross and Rachel in real life had feelings for each other.
Yeah.
And then their characters do too. I thought that was such like a cute
always wondered which one came first.
Or did it come at the same time because they were being forced
just,
to
like,
be in scenes where they had to channel that part of it?
Right. And they have this very clear chemistry on camera, but I wonder like which part was kind of like more nurtured when they were like filming.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have to like channel it and then really go into it and like build these feelings with the characters, or did that part come naturally first?
And it just made the characters that much better.
Right.
Yeah. I literally wrote down method acting. Like the whole theory of method acting is such a big part of this, where Austin Butler for Elvis, like he spent years just immersing himself in his studies about Elvis, his mannerisms, his voice, his dialect, everything. And like, that's his art imitating someone else's life.
Right. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch. I watched it with a friend. Let me find it. It's Jim Carrey, and when he method acted, for, I think there's a documentary on, I think it's on Netflix. It's called Me and Andy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Me and Andy, Jim Carrey, or
yeah,
Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond. It's basically the movie that Jim Carrey starred in about Andy.
And he was like really fucking obnoxious on set, even off camera, that people were like so irritated with him because he was so
hated working with him.
And his character Andy.
Yep, and he was working, or he was doing a lot of press around the movie and doing a lot of like interviews outside of filming, and he was still in character, and he was just an asshole because that's how this guy Andy was. Andy's like a comedian back in, I don't know, like the 70s or something. Yeah. Anyway, go watch it. Jim and Andy. Yeah. It's really good. And it gives you this insight of like, where do you have to put your brain to get into this character? And at what point is it? And like, that's why Jim Carrey is like, so I put in air quotes, like good as an actor, because he just so like becomes these people. But who is Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Like, at what point does Andy stop and Jim start?
Method acting, I always think that with people, like, do you have to like let a part of yourself kind of die to make room for this 100%. Other personality? Because the way it's not just like, okay, I'm gonna like learn how they walk and how they talk. No, it's like back to the Elvis thing. Like, he made himself feel like Elvis to channel this art.
Yeah.
And like, now he still talks like him in all his interviews. He's getting shit for it, but like, that's a good method actor.
Yeah. And like, how do you can't just turn it off?
No, I can imagine. Okay. I feel like when you hear a lot of these, you can think they're just coincidences, but you could also argue, are coincidences just life imitating art?
There's no coincidence.
There's an art out there that probably imitates what that coincidence just imitated.
Yep.
So just think with that lens when I read these off, with more of the life imitating art lens. So Breaking Bad, we all know that show. It came out in 2008, and that same year, someone named Walter White in Alabama was convicted for the same thing. And it's like,
wasn't he like on the run too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't show up at his trial in 2012. So now he's like on a most wanted list. Like, homie's in trouble. I don't know if there's any update on that since, but how crazy is that? Like,
Walter White.
Did he watch it and he's like, that's my name, this is my prophecy?
Or did someone like hear the story and just like choose that name?
Him.
Yeah.
Right. Who knows? Another one, House of Cards. It's a show, but it was originally a novel that was released in 1989. So if you haven't seen it before, it's about the fall of Margaret Thatcher. And so Michael Dobbs is the author of the novel, and he wrote this about the fall, and then a year after the novel was released, she actually resigned from office. This one is kind of a debate though, because he used to work for like the London Conservative Party under her for a few years.
So it was like an educated guess.
You're right. People were like, is he just like basing this off something he knew was already coming? But still, who knows? Gosh, this one, The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh God.
That one's a little more depressing. I remember watching season 1 like years ago, thinking like that was the most outrageous fiction I've ever watched, and it was just so crazy.
There's
and out of this
no
world.
way this is gonna happen.
And now it's so relevant. There's literally a scene where they stormed the Capitol, and this was all before it actually happened. And like that one, like fucked me up.
It's just too close to home.
Yeah, it's life imitating art. Another like kind of scary one that honestly I don't want to talk about too much because it makes me scared. Again, who knows if these were just coincidences, but all the shit that happened on set of The Exorcist when they were filming it, that was weird.
There's just too many examples for it to be a coincidence.
Yeah.
There's too much shit that went down on that set for it to be, a coincidence.
Go look it up. Like people like died. There was like random fires. Like I don't even want to talk about it again. It's like one of my least favorite movies on the planet. That's where I draw the line of scary movies. That's where I don't feel rest and digest. Like that just straight up
You're
makes me
like
scared.
Stirring up energy that just like shouldn't be in life.
So you guys go look that up. We're not doing it. This one's kind of a silly one, but in Glee, Rachel Berry, played by Lea Michele, is like she just wants to be on Broadway. And then like now Lea Michelle's on Broadway. So that one's kind of cool. Interesting. I saw something, I think her opening night, which by the way, I want to go see her show. She left 2 seats open for Corey and Naya Riviera.
Yeah.
Pronounce it. And Corey Monteith. Is that his last name?
I don't know.
But her 2 co-stars that have unfortunately passed away. She left 2 seats open for them.
Oh.
But it's crazy. Like she's literally Rachel Berry. Alex has never seen Glee.
No.
We have to watch it. Like her character is, I love it. You like hate her so much that you love her because she's just so annoying. Like just.
She's who you don't want to be.
Yeah. She's just like, watch out. I'm going to be a star. Like you're like, shut up. But then like, she's fucking good. She's got a great voice.
I saw one. I kind of was looking at examples, but I didn't write any down. But I saw one. Ankle bracelets, house arrest. Yeah, house arrest bracelets. The first judge who started using them, I think back in like the late 70s or early 80s, he saw it in a Spider-Man comic.
Blows my mind.
And now it's like we use it as a form of consequences
all the time
in our prison system.
And it's from a comic.
A comic.
I want to like read what comic that is.
Right.
They should have put it in the movie. Like that would have been iconic.
Yeah. A big one is George Orwell, 1981?
1981, 1984.
God, I should know that.
Right? I'm pretty sure it's
Hold on. Let me look it up.
Well, I'll look it up. What is it? Finish with that.
Anyway, it's just like the eye and like propaganda and like and us being monitored by tech and surveillance, basically.
Big Brother.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 1984. I saw another one about the movie Don't Look Up with Jennifer Lawrence, Leo, Ariana, just all-star cast. It's if you haven't seen it, it's pretty much just kind of like mimicking the way society is dealing with a lot of issues, specifically like climate change. And pretty much in the movie, like there's a meteor coming to Earth, and these meteorologists are like trying to like get on news channels and like tell the world that they only have like X amount of days left, and everybody's just like, shut up, we're fine. Like
it's
just
literally the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah.
But on like a climate change note, I saw an interview, or like a news interview, you know, when they like call someone in. It was some like UK news channel with John Hammond, a meteorologist. And one of the anchors starts off just being like, oh my God, John, the weather has been so nice. Cause he's like on his webcam in his backyard. Like it's hella sunny outside. It looks so nice there. And he's like, yeah, no, it's a beautiful blah, blah, blah degrees, but it's actually getting like really hot later this week. And he starts going into like the dangers of this heat wave that UK is going through and how like thousands of people have died from it. And
wow,
like it's serious.
Yeah.
It pans back to the anchor and she's like, I mean, we've always had heat waves though. Like it's just a hot day. We've always had hot days, John. Like, why do I feel like every time we talk to a meteorologist, they're just talking about something so fatal and like negative? And like you watch the clip and it literally mirrors that clip when Jennifer Lawrence's character just loses it and she's like, why are you guys fucking scared? Like we have X amount of days left and we're gonna fucking die. And it pans back and they're like, someone needs a Xanax, like telling her to like chill. Like
it's kind of like in Times Square we have this really big billboard of the national debt crisis and how the number is just growing and growing and growing, and like everyone just kind of like walks by it,
you're like,
looks at it,
crazy.
That's crazy, and then you just move on to the next.
There's another one on a side of a building. Is it in Union Square, I think, here in New York? And it's how many days, literally, like, don't look up how many days we think we have left until the planet just goes to shit. And I think it's like in the 6,000s. Like, it's like a low number.
Oh my God, my anxiety just like flared up.
And yeah, same. There was a part of the museum I was at that had just this whole section about climate change, and it had this little knob that you can switch left, right, back, forth. And it had like a scanner where it would show a picture of an ice cap in 2006 and then a picture of it now. And like, you just see how fucking much it's melted. Like, it's not just a little bit. They look like completely different terrains at this point. And I'm just flipping back and forth. Like,
it's so drastic.
Yeah, it was terrifying. This is taking a fucking turn.
Yeah.
Life imitating art.
Oh.
SNL in general.
Oh my God.
Sketches in general are such a big example of this.
Yep.
There's so many times where you and I are walking down the street, like last night. Oh my God. And we're like, I'll tell you in a sec. We were like, dude, that would have been such a good like SNL sketch. Or like, we've been watching Broad City. Like Broad City was literally written by two friends that like did stupid shit together. And they were like, yo, this needs to be a series. And they made it a web series. And now it's a Comedy Central series. Like, watch Broad City if you haven't already. It's really, really relevant when it comes to comedy.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it's
especially.
it's easy to take comedy, give it an art form, and this art form is so related to our everyday life because it's just easy to relate to.
There's always funny little things that happen, so
and
you can make them in art.
Right. It's comedic relief.
Right. So last night we walked to the bodega on our corner to grab some snacks and shit. And there was like a big box of peppermint tea, like kind of high up. And I wanted it. And I was like, Alex, get it. And she looks, and behind the cashier, he has like the claw to like reach things high up. And she looks at him and goes,
it came out of my mouth.
Can I see your big long stick? And I could not hold it in. I was
gonna pee my pants
and like her fucking Apple Pay wasn't working. Like, we were in the store for like a second, and I'm sitting there just silent, crying with tears down my face, and then she's laughing because she's looking at me, but we're both not trying to be rude because we don't want him to think we're laughing at him. But it was such a moment where I was like, that would have been in a fucking show.
Yep.
Like, that was such
a sketch,
a fucking written sketch. And I was saying, like, I mean, I feel like every friend group says like, we need our own show, because like everybody has those silly moments that when it happens, you're like, dude, like, you can't write this shit.
No.
Like, how did that just happen to us?
It's too good. You can't write it.
Too good. I wish we were writers and we would.
Oh my God.
We'd have Broad City.
We've actually been told before. We went on this kind of like, you went on this kind of first date.
Damn near.
First date-ish thing where we went over to a guy's house, and
I don't know if it's a first date when I bring my 2 girlfriends.
Well, it was like we did it for you so you can like meet him.
Right. You guys get it.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had this game night and we were all like cracking jokes. And it was a normal night for us because we like me, you, and Leanna always have this dynamic. But there was one point where he sits back and he goes, you guys need to get in a room with fucking writers because the shit that you guys talk about and the shit that you guys like rip off of could literally be a show.
Yep.
And like this really isn't us like tooting our own horn, but
No.
it's just how we are on a day to day. And I think it's just like we've gotten so comfortable with each other that like we really do let our brain go to these places.
Yeah.
And like I feel like everyone can do it. But we always like put these blocks on us. But like we really do go to these places that are like sketch material.
I think we're just funny. When I was looking at these examples, I was thinking about your For You page and your Explore page. It pushes things that imitate your life
Yeah.
in an art form. Like literally when I had that aha moment, I shut my computer. I was like, I think that's enough for today.
I think that's where we need to stop.
I think that's where we're going to stop. So I think that's where we're going to leave you guys too. This is, like we said, the biggest cycle of a topic. We could go in circles forever, but it's a good brain tickler.
It is.
I want to hear like your guys's theories about this, ways that you feel like you've fallen into escapism in certain movies, even books, shows, whatever. Times where you've seen this happen in your life or any other stories that you might know.
Right. Like how far have you let media influence your life?
Yep. And I know we said we don't think it's like a black or white answer, but if you're somebody who thinks it is,
please plead your case.
Yes. Do you think life imitates art or does art imitate life? If you want to take a stance, let us know. Comment down below. Or if you're one of our patrons on Patreon for Friday's episode, same questions apply to you. Send stuff in, send us your stance, send us your stories and whatnot. And that will be out Friday. But if you don't subscribe to our Patreon, you should. You do get an extra episode every week. But either way, thank you so much for supporting us wherever you listen, watch, whatever. We appreciate it. But we're going to leave you there. I hope your brain feels tickled because mine sure does. Alex's
I hope
sure
it
does.
hurts.
And do you feel like this fed the part of us that's been wanting to do a project? We always say how we want to do like a book report.
Fully.
When we were sitting, like I felt like we were studying together.
I love the research ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too. We need to do you guys like this more like research based topics rather than like emotion? Not that we'll choose one or the other because we're always going to talk about emotions, but like
I feel like when we are thinking of things to talk about, we always tend to go like emotion forward first.
Or
We always
just, like,
what are we going through in our life right now?
what's going on in our life. But like I just like these
It's fun
random topics.
life concepts.
Let's do that.
Because they're super influential on our emotions.
Clearly, because
Life imitates art. Okay, we gotta go. I want pasta.
Love you guys so much. We'll talk to you Friday or next Monday, whatever
You prefer.
Love you.
Bye.